everyone. Welcome to Steve Rosenfield's stand-up comedy workshop show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. What you're going to see is a company of stand-up comedians who have been training in a workshop conducted by award-winning comedy director, author of the book Mastering Stand-Up, and founder of the American Comedy Institute, Steve Rosenfield. Some comedians who have trained in this workshop have gone on to perform on The Tonight Show, The Late Show, Conan O'Brien, SNL, Comedy Central, Gotham Comedy Live, Saturday Night Live, and they've performed in clubs all over the United States and all over the world. Speaking of all over the world, we have students performing from all over the world tonight because with our workshops online, no matter where you live, you can pursue your dream of doing stand-up comedy and work with Steve Rosenfield from your own home. More on our workshops to come. But first, I also want to mention we have several comics making their stand-up comedy debut tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. You're in for a great show. My name's Michaela Fagan. I'm going to be your host. And I just want to start by saying, please help me. I'm stuck in a 55 and over community living with my parents. A 55 and over community. I fall asleep every night knowing I'm the only fertile woman in at least a mile. So like if this becomes a situation where we have to repopulate the earth, there's going to be a line of old men knocking down my door. I know it. I've already established the parameters of the competition that would ensue. You have to have an active driver's license to enter. Then it's going to be a jitterbug competition just to determine their style and flair. And then a bocce ball tournament to the death. I will procreate with the lone victor. So I got to get out of here. Get back to New York City. I've been watching a lot of television. I especially have been watching a lot of Toddlers and Tiaras. And it's making me mad at my parents because they never put me in childhood beauty pageants. And I think I would have been a contender. My introduction alone would have sealed the deal. The lady introducing me would have to be like, and now, coming to the stage, we have little Miss Michaela Fagan. She's got brown hair, brown eyes, and a golden heart. Her two favorite things to do are rip worms in half and eat Kraft singles straight from their individual plastic packaging. Her record is 23 in a row. Wow, Michaela, that's a lot of cheese. She loves her parents, her cats, and maybe Jesus, but she's skeptical. Her favorite smells are gasoline and pork. And when she grows up, she'd like to be a Radio City Rockette. Good luck with that, sweetheart. Or rich. This is little Miss Michaela. I could have done Ultimate Grand Supreme, like at least once. I could have been Ultimate Grand Supreme. Growing up, though, I never really related like to the princesses in the movies. I far more related to like the chubby woodland creature in the C plot of the animated movie. That's more what I felt like. Like I am that food motivated chipmunk. I am Gus Gus. You know, I have too many corn kernels under my chin. They keep popping out like a Pez dispenser until I have none. I look at all the other mice like sewing a garment and tying a bow, and I'm just napping on a hunk of Swiss cheese as a pillow. That's what I liked. I mean, I could have been like the object of the prince's affection or the object of the palace cat's obsession. And that's what I preferred. Like, we'd have a complicated relationship, but they'd never catch me. That's more what I wanted to be, that little woodland creature. Um, so I am gay. It took me a long time to come out, even though it shouldn't have, because growing up I always wanted to be a nun. Like that sounded fun to me. That should have been an indicator. I was like, hold on, you're telling me I could live with hundreds of women in a castle? Amazing. Be princesses in the kingdom of our Lord? I mean, I know you're like technically married to Jesus, but I've never seen the guy. It's like he's always on a business trip. So that I could have dealt with that. Definitely. I'm so lucky though. I'm not the only queer person in my family. My aunt has a wife. They've been together for so many years and they love to give me advice, but their advice just feels like a little outdated. I'm wondering how long I should message this girl I met on TikTok, like how long I should wait. And they're like, okay, McKay, here's what you're going to do. First, marry a man, wait 10 to 12 years. I'm like, no, I don't think you understood my question. I don't want to marry a man. No, hear me out. It's all part of the process, okay? Then at your weekly all girls poker game, go on up to your friend Debbie and kiss her clumsily but passionately on the side of the face. Wait 10 to 12 more years. It never happened. Okay, then at your goddaughter's communion, you're going to go on up to Debbie. Don't worry, she's invited. She's like family. Kiss her full on the mouth in front of the priest. Live happily ever after in secrecy. Tell no one. Does that help? I'm like, no, but thank you so much anyway. I love you. Thank you all. I'm so excited to bring your first comedian to the screen. He is performing from Los Angeles, California. His comedy talk show, Lunch Therapy, just celebrated their 200th episode. Please give it up for the very funny Joel Marshall.
Hey, I'm Joel Marshall. I'm from Seattle. A lot of people think people from Seattle are so nice. Not really. You know how little kids, when they're asked what they want to be when they grow up, they always give an answer of what they see every day. Like firemen, policemen, garbage men. At my elementary school, most of us said serial killer. Yeah, you can't start a conversation in Seattle and say, "Did you hear about the serial killer?" Are you referring to the freeway serial killer or the boxcar serial killer or the happy face serial killer or the stamp collector serial killer? Yeah, stamp collector serial killer. He killed only stamp collectors, as if their life wasn't bad enough. Or the starvation serial killer. She was a woman, and rich people hired her to help them lose weight, and then she'd starve them to death. Hey, at least they died happy, right? So slender. Oh, and the Hillside Strangler. In fairness, he killed people in California, but he knew where to retire. Yeah, Seattle. Great opportunities to teach. Ted Bundy went to my college. And to put all of this in context, to this day, if you mention Ted Bundy to everyone who knew him at my school, they say, "Oh, Ted, he was so nice." And in the state of Washington, you had the death sentence, and you could choose to be hanged. Yeah, there was only one other state with that option. Does anybody know what that is? Now, if you're thinking Texas, you're wrong. And you're not thinking clearly about this. Have you learned nothing from me? You got to think, what is the other state where people are nice? And it's not Vermont, not a socialist state. It's an American state. It's New Hampshire. Yeah, I remember thinking about all this, and I always wondered, when they put that noose around your neck and then they drop out the floor, is there like a split second where you're like, wow, that really fixed my back? It's very isolating in this quarantine, and I really miss human contact, and I want to be around a community of people. Are any of you feeling that? Yeah, so I'm thinking of joining a cult. Is there anybody out there in a cult? Anyone? They're online now. Yeah. I was in a cult years ago, but they kicked me out. The guru was up there and he was like, "And now I'm going to reveal to you the secret to life." Marshall? Are you playing Tetris again? Out! Out! No, out! Apparently I don't have the discipline, or I don't have the work ethic to be a cult disciple. So I'm thinking maybe I'm a cult leader. I got the look, right? And I'm totally comfortable with public speaking. But the big challenge for me is that I have nothing to say. Yeah, I've been looking for help online, and there is no cult leader instructional stuff, nothing. Yeah, Masterclass doesn't have it. I tried LinkedIn to see if maybe there's a ghost cult speechwriter out there. Nothing. I enrolled in the University of Phoenix, but they have no courses on being a cult leader. Can you believe it? I thought they were preparing students for today's economy. So I've heard that a lot of cult leaders started out as yoga instructors. So they become yoga gurus. But I don't think I can do that. I'm not flexible enough. I don't think I could get a following if I was standing in front of the class, I'm like, now we're going to reach down, all the way down and touch the top of your thighs. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. So I've been talking to a friend of mine, and he says, Joel, starting a cult is like starting a small business. You have to find out who your target audience is. Who is your target audience? And I said, I don't know. Someone like me? And he says, okay, perfect. Losers and failures. And I said, hey, wait a minute. That's a bit harsh. And he was like, no, you don't understand. That is a huge plus. It is? Oh man, that is the best target audience there is. All you got to do is say, I understand and I can fix it. I mean, how do you think Trump got elected, right? So he's got me really charged up about this. So if everybody out there could just put your failures and your broken dreams in the chat room, I will fill your gaping hole of desire. Hey, don't get me wrong. It's nothing sexual. No way. In a cult, that comes later. Namaste.
Namaste, Joel Marshall. Joel, if you want to start a cult based on minimal exertion yoga, I have the place for you. You got to come to South Florida, okay? Your disciples are here. They're waiting for you. Your next comic coming to the screen. I'm so excited to see her set. You're going to love her all the way from Los Angeles, California, another new member of the ACI family. Please give it up for Ginny Sykes.
Hey guys, I don't have to tell you, these are tough times. During the pandemic, like a lot of folks, I got fired from my job at the suicide hotline. And I wanted to be helpful. So I was like, what did I do wrong? You probably know they record your calls. My boss says, when they tell you the reasons, you keep saying, ooh, I can see your point. I'm empathetic. Then my boss played a call with a man who was desperate to end things, but he didn't have anything to do it with. I said, well, what floor are you on? I came there with job experience. True confession, I've attempted suicide. I tried pills, drinking, picking up the phone when my divorce lawyer called. After I failed, I realized suicide's just one more thing I really suck at. But I can still relate. Recently, I had a birthday, and somebody said to me, hey, happy birthday, Ginny, and many more. Why? No more than 10, thanks. I can't take any more. And this doesn't come from despair. This comes from, I see the future and I enjoy not shitting myself. But I don't want to go right now because I'd have regrets. On my birthday, I woke up and thought, I never got a parrot. Parrots are great. They talk, something only humans are supposed to do. Not impressed? I'd like to see you lay an egg. And they can also live 60 years, which means now a parrot would outlast me and be lonely. I have to face facts. I've aged out of exotic birds. Polly, want a casket? There are things worse than dying. My marriage, my divorce. Dying, you lose someone, you grieve and move on. They're gone. Divorce, you lose someone and they're still there. Yeah, you keep running into them with somebody who looks exactly like you, only 18 years younger, 4 inches taller, a 2-inch tinier waist, and she's Colombian, otherwise a dead ringer. My divorce came as a complete surprise. Out of the blue, my husband, Frank, emailed me a list of my 10 flaws. 10 flaws. I thought that was actually pretty good, but I didn't go through my breakup alone. My best friend was there. She and I were like sisters. We shared everything, books, clothes, my husband, Frank. Yeah, my BFF, you know, bitch fucking Frank. This woman, we'll call her Patty Cannonberg, 1310 North Demonical Place, Brooklyn, New York, 11206, cell 347-845-7581, and work 718-230-0499. Patty was awesome. She's a Shakespearean scholar, a gourmet cook. She's balancing a career with 3 kids under the age of 5, with her husband and my husband, and a parrot. That last one's not even a joke, for real. She had one. Honestly, I'd leave me for her. Were there signs? I didn't see any. Once Frank was whining, he goes, "Ginny, my temperature is over 103. I'm sweating. I ache all over." Men are such babies. Patty came over, took one look at him and said, "Oh my God, we're going to the ER." Turns out he had walking pneumonia. How could I tell? He was walking. It's so unfair. I can't complain to anyone about her because nothing about Patty sucks besides her mouth. Want to know the worst thing she did? She volunteers in Africa. What am I going to say? Can you believe Frank left me for this bitch who's in Africa helping blind children? I've made peace with it. People fall out of love. That's life. And look, as a mother and an activist, Patty is sublime. As a friend, deep down, she's a cunt. Thank you. I'm Ginny Sykes.
Ginny Sykes. Ginny, I heard a number that sounded familiar in there because it's my area code too. I'll mess her up. I'm going over right now. Whew. I promise. Your next comic coming to the screen is making her stand-up comedy debut. She is performing from Santa Monica, California. Please give it up for Carrie Croft.
So when the pandemic first hit and my husband and I were sent home from work, I remember saying to him, they're telling us this could be really bad. Like we could be on lockdown for up to 2 whole weeks. Oh my God, can you imagine? I was worried that working from home would make us lazy. And so I created a to-do list for us. I put it on the mirror so we could see it every day, made a list of things that we wanted to accomplish. And I said we would check them off and we would update it. I wrote March 18th, 2020. Number 1, cook something with kale. Number 2, go 24 hours without alcohol. And number 3, start working out. If you could see the mirror today, it says March 18th, 2020, cook something with kale, go 24 hours without alcohol, start working out. We just weren't being honest with ourselves. We should have been more realistic and written something like, today we will not drink a bottle of wine. We'll drink 2. Or today I will binge watch Tiger King and then lie to everyone about binge watching Tiger King. Today I will order a needlework kit and then forget that I ordered it because it gets lost in the sea of other Amazon boxes in my living room. Then maybe as we settled into the pandemic, I could have added something a little more ambitious, like today I will finish everything on Netflix. Even that feels like too much. It would have been challenging enough if I would just said, today I'll wear pants. And I realized I was being just as aspirational about society as I had been about myself. When the Black Lives Matter movements and then the protests started, I thought, okay, it's time we'll get this right. We've literally never had more time on our hands. We've never been more focused. We just need to commit to fixing racism by the end of the summer. I should have known better. I couldn't even commit to finishing the last season of Great British Bake Off. But what I wasn't ready for was that things got worse after the election, like a lot worse. And I don't understand that because I told everyone on Facebook who they should vote for. I was very specific. But not enough people listened, and the election was still way too close. They didn't call it for almost a week. I had to spend a week on the couch watching MSNBC, a week. watching Steve Kornacki fall apart. On election day, he showed up with a fresh button-up, pressed khakis, and new tie. 3 days later, the same tie was held together with safety pins. By Saturday, it looked like he was held together with safety pins. I just felt so bad for him, this poor guy, just hour after hour, day after day, trying to make democracy interesting. He'd be like, wait, hold on. I'm getting updates from my producers. Okay, great. Folks, they're saying we just got a huge vote dump from Maricopa County. Yes, I can confirm we have received 2 votes. That is 2 votes from Maricopa County. So let's look at the breakdown. That's going to be 1 more vote for Trump and 1 more vote for Biden. So I guess that puts us, well, back to you, Rachel. So my husband and I have been in lockdown together for almost a year now, and we are really starting to irritate the hell out of each other. I love this man, but he cannot find anything. A while back, he was like, I can't find my book. And I said, oh, it's not on the bookcase. He goes, oh, I don't know. I didn't check there yet. So I get irritated at him, and then he gets irritated at me. He says, God, don't you ever have trouble finding things? And I said, yes, I have been working for 10 years, and I still can't find equal pay. But it's not all bad, or at least it's not as bad as it was before. You guys remember the beginning of pandemic when everyone was shopping like it was the end of the world? It was bad here in Los Angeles. There were lines around the corner, stores were running out of supplies. My husband and I got in there and it was the Hunger Games. He looked me in the eyes and said, grab whatever you can before they kill us. And he took off. So I'm dodging shopping carts. There's toilet paper flying everywhere. I'm just panic buying any bougie ass items that are left on the LA shelves, justifying it to myself. Like, I know we don't typically drink lavender infused gluten-free tea, but we could start. And this vegan cheesecake, that looks pretty good. Like we could have that for dinner tonight. And we could pair it with this last jar of gourmet pickles that someone left behind. That sounds good, right? So as I head for the checkout line, I had my basket full, and I came the closest to death I have been the entire pandemic. I got caught between a Santa Monica stay-at-home mom and a bottle of hand sanitizer. I pleaded with her. I said, okay, fine. After you crush me to death, will you please just tell my husband that I love him and that his book is on the bookcase? This has been so much fun. Thank you guys.
Carrie Croft. That was a harrowing tale. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're okay. Whew, what a time. Your next comic coming to the screen is a great friend, and she is so funny. You're going to love her. Please give it up all the way from New York City. It's Beth Farber.
Good evening. The other day, I was complaining to my shrink that my daughter did not take my advice about how she should live her life. And he said to me, it's really bad for adult children when their mothers are too involved in their lives and too critical. Do you want to be one of those mothers? And I said to him, yes. Yes, I do. I want to be one of those mothers. And the shrink said to me, the stereotype of a Jewish mother is to be domineering and controlling. And I said, are you suggesting that's a negative? And he said, do you approve of that stereotype? I said, that stereotype is my North Star. It is the star towards which I am guiding my ship. And I plan to get there, goddammit. I refuse to be the first Jewish mother in 2,000 years who can't say things like, that dress makes you look like a pumpkin. Who cut your hair? Kim Jong-il? I want grandchildren, goddammit. Get to work. Oh, what a surprise. You calling me. How much money do you need this time? Then my shrink said to me, you know, what you want matters, but what really matters is if your children are happy with their lives. And so, you know, I can see myself saying to my son, oh, I'm so happy for you. You just finished medical school and now you're moving to Alabama to live in a trailer park with a woman who's a born again Christian, has 8 children. And instead of being a doctor, you're going to sell timeshares for places in Nicaragua. And you're taking what's left of your bar mitzvah money and you're donating it to a brand new organization called Jews for Allah. Ah, sweetie, that's so great. I'm so glad for you. I just have one more favor to ask you. Could you please buy a gun and just shoot me? I wish my parents had been more involved in my life. I still remember the first day of kindergarten. I was so confused. Everybody was singing Frère Jacques, Frère Jacques. And I thought, doesn't anyone speak English here? My parents had never sang me that song. They never sang me any song. I thought, who is Frère Jacques? How come everybody knows him but me? Is he here? So I asked my teacher finally, who's Frère Jacques? And she said, don't you know anything? Frère Jacques is a French monk, Brother John. And I thought, well, I do know one thing. I'm only 5, but I know I'm a Jew. And Jews, we don't sing to monks. Next, they sang Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I lived in Brooklyn. Nobody sang to stars in Brooklyn. Nobody could even see a star in Brooklyn. The only thing that really twinkled in Brooklyn was the blinking lights on top of a police car. Old McDonald's has a farm. Who cares? If he'd had a color television set, back then that would have been something to sing about. And what's with all the singing to the farm animals? Who gives a shit? A moo moo here and a quack quack there? I don't know from these animals. Why don't they sing to an animal I know something about? Like a gefilte fish. And who the fuck is Mother Goose anyway? Again with the farm animals. Now, I didn't really care much about Old MacDonald, but I did know I had to stay away from the farmer's wife. You know, there were these 3 mice and they were blind. I mean, what could be more harmless? But the farmer's wife, she cut off their tails with a carving knife. What a bitch. Every day in kindergarten for snack, they gave us canned pineapple juice. And even today, the smell of canned pineapple juice makes me nauseous and makes me remember just how much I hated kindergarten. But I comfort myself because I think, well, I've done okay in life. But Frère Jacques, I bet he was exposed for what he was, a pedophile. And Old MacDonald, he had to sell his farm because he got his leg cut off in a turbine accident. And that sadistic bitch, the farmer's wife, she was outed by PETA. She started to get death threats and had to change her name. And now she had to move. And she lives in a trailer park in Alabama. Thank you very much. Good night.
Beth Farber. Beth, I'm scared to ask you what you think about the cow who jumped over the moon. You know, I fear for that bovine. I fear for him. Whew. Your next comic coming to the screen is performing from New York City, and she's a new member of the ACI family. We are so excited to have her. Please give it up for Kimberly Ozier.
Hi. So winter is not my best season. You know, you have to go out in all those extra layers of fat. It's just not a very boyfriendy time of year for me. I should mention I'm single. I did try the married thing, but it didn't take. You really it's like we dated long distance up until we got married, and you just can't know a person until you divorce them. So, but I don't like to think I lost a husband. I like to think of it instead as I gained a closet and the remote control, Goodbye Sports Center, Hello Bravo. I'm also saving on my electric bill. He always had the air conditioner on. I don't know why. Why is it that not hot men are always complaining that it's too hot? I'll never understand. But dating is harder as you get older. I'm 48, but it's pronounced 40. The 8 is silent. And I have 5 kids. I mean, technically it's 2, but 1 is a girl. So I'm kind of a New York City cliche. I live on the Upper East Side. I have a small dog that I carry around in a designer purse. She's 7 pounds, but it's the Upper East Side, so she self-identifies as 5. She's kind of like a Park Avenue matriarch. She's white, she has gray spots, and she's a complete snob. So like I'll buy her liver treats and she just turns up her nose at them unless I say, Lily, I have foie gras. And then she comes running. So I just got a new mattress and I've been having a lot of trouble sleeping lately. I think I got the wrong one. I think I got the repressed memories foam. Just thoughts just keep popping into my head. And I use GPS when I drive. And they don't make these things for people like me who live in New York City. They say things like, the directions are like, turn right at 700 feet. What do I know from 700 feet? Say something I can identify, like turn right after the medium-sized 1-bedroom apartment with a cozy dining nook. That makes sense to me. So people ask me if I would marry again. And yeah, sure, I would. I think I've learned from my mistakes. I know what I want and need right now. I want to be a trophy wife, not a thank you for participating ribbon wife. So I was thinking, a good place to find a wealthy older man. Maybe I'll volunteer working at the nursing home, at the retirement home. Then I was like, you know what? Those guys don't have the dough. I know what I'll do. I'll get a job working in hospice. Yeah, sure. I don't have any experience, but really, what's the worst case? You fuck up and someone lives. So if you know of any suitable bachelors, please let me know. I'm very easy to find. My name is Kimberly Ozer, and that's spelled like a loser without an L. So thank you so much, Zoom. It's been a good time. Don't forget to tip your server. We'll be here all week.
Ooh, Kimberly Ozer. Before we move on, I just want to say, if you love making people laugh and you want to try stand-up comedy, you can do it at the American Comedy Institute with Steve Rosenfield, because our workshops right now are completely online. Our next workshop is going to be starting on February 9th. So email me at info@comedyinstitute.com or Google the American Comedy Institute. You'll find our website, comedyinstitute.com, and sign up. It is so much fun. You will love it. And you will also love our next comedian, who is performing from Washington, D.C., and her name is Yelena Kulik.
My son, who is 14, just got his report card. Because of the pandemic, his school is online. He got all C's. So I called his teacher and I said, under these conditions, he should be getting all A+. And she asked me why. And I said, he's still alive. I'm so proud of my daughter. She took her driving test. And she told me, because of the pandemic, the MBA officer will not get in the car with her. And I said, I'm so proud of you. You're just like me. Even before pandemic, nobody will get in the car with me either. My whole family is still on self-quarantine. And it's been amazing because we all getting along great now. And I know why. We never see each other. My husband is busy working from home and doing his 28,000 steps a day. I'm in the kitchen sanitizing the broccoli. My 14 years old son spends all his time playing video game, Fortnite. And yesterday we got a great news. He's this close to become a telecom. And I'm so proud of him. And I don't know what the hell that means. My daughter is like smoking all day long and all night long. And I was not sure, what is she smoking? And I said to her, what is this? And she said, oh, that's herb sage. It gets rid of the coronavirus. And I'm so proud of her because now she's like smoking all the time. She was smoking in the kitchen and for a while, and she left, and my husband walked in and she said, what is the smell? Are you smoking pot? And I said, you don't know me at all. I don't smoke pot. I eat edibles. I miss interacting with people. I went to the grocery store and I got into conversation with this nice guy. I told him, you know, I don't travel anymore. I don't eat out anymore. I don't get together with people anymore. I don't drink anymore. I don't hug anymore. I don't kiss anymore. I'm so isolated. I'm depressed. And he said, ma'am, I just ask you paper or plastic. I used to hate going to the parties. I rather to just be home and reading a good book in bed. But I don't feel this way anymore. I miss my husband's best friend. Pinch me on the ass. I kill for that. I have a friend who still thinks that this election was stolen from Trump. I said, how could you possibly believe that? What are you so upset about? I mean, Trump, the most powerful supporter, had acknowledged that Biden won an election. She said, Mitch McConnell? I said, no, Putin. I was once nation's capital tour guide. They told me to tell the tourists all the history that I know. And I did. And they fired me. And I asked, why? We meant American, not Russian history. Now you're telling me? Some people are not going to get COVID vaccine. I have a friend who is saying, I don't know what's in it. And I said, by that logic, put down your Snickers bar. Even my husband is saying he may not get a vaccine because he doesn't know what's in it. I said, of course you don't know what's in it. You once asked me what's in orange juice. My husband called me and complained that I forgot to order groceries online. And I said, what do you want of me? Don't you realize I'm on a computer right now, running entire universe? He says that I always ask for presents that are just too expensive. And I said, all right, then, I'll stop asking for a swimming pool. He said, okay, thank you, that's better. But then I said, can I still get a pool boy? My husband thinks I am reckless with money. I said, I am not reckless. I'm patriotic. Don't ask what America could do for you. President Kennedy once said, ask what you could do for America. And what I could do for America It's give America all my money. Thank you so much. I love you.
Yay, Yelena Kulik, a patriot giving her money to America. Sanitize your edibles, everyone. America. Your next performer coming to the screen is from the San Francisco Bay Area. She is a writer, she's an actor, and she teaches piano to adult learners over Zoom. Please welcome the very funny Jane Stone.
Good evening. Good evening and welcome. Jane Stone, involuntarily single, sheltering in place, and so glad to see you. Come in, come in. Kick off your slippers and stay a while. You hear so many terrible things about solitary confinement. Now that I've experienced it for 10 months, I'd say it's alarmingly character building. I think that all this alone time has really developed my character from a charming eccentric to a scary weirdo. And I think I may be older than I realize. I'm thinking about the summer before last when I took a bus to go to a doctor appointment. The bus was standing room only, but I managed to wedge myself into a little spot where I could hold on to the pole. Then I see this tiny lady who looked like a 200-year-old slice of dried apple, teetering onto the bus, so frail you could blow her over with a fart. So then the bus driver, a formidable woman, turns around in her seat and shouts, "Surrender your seats to the elderly and disabled, or I'm coming after you." Then she rises from her throne and she strong arms her way through the throng of sweaty passengers all the way to the rear of the bus. And she comes right over to me. And she looks me squarely in the eye and says, "Sorry, baby, I couldn't find you a seat." And so there I was, hoping that maybe I looked more disabled than old. These are crazy times, but it seems like the arts can be a comfort. Recently, I read that they're making an online version of Hamlet set in the present in a castle at Mar-a-Lago. Apparently, this Hamlet likes golf. Will Hamlet at Mar-a-Lago say, "To mask or not to mask"? Maybe. But I'm sure he's going to say, "To be or not to be." That's up to Fauci. Do you know that William Shakespeare himself survived several surges of the bubonic plague? He did it by, keeping busy, working from home. During one self-quarantine, he wrote 3 towering masterpieces: Macbeth and King Lear and Antony and Cleopatra. During my quarantine, I'm working from home on my own 3 masterpieces, consuming towering amounts of Ben & Jerry's, growing my tush into a splendid seat cushion, and binge watching every blessed season of Schitt's Creek. And today, I tripped over my shoelaces and counted that as exercise. So, clearly, your visit is the highlight of my day. So take good care of each other, sweethearts. Don't be a stranger. And thanks for coming.
Thanks, Jane Stone. No, I don't want to go. 3 masterpieces. That's a lot. I could maybe do a sonnet. Okay, maybe I could do the rhyming couplet at the end of a sonnet. I think I could manage that for sure. Your next comic coming to the screen is performing from Santa Monica, California. One of my favorites. Please put your hands together for the very funny Tom Susko.
Hi, everyone. I really miss going out. I miss hearing people say, look, it's the Lexus salesman. Or, hey, it's Bill Nye the Science Guy. Or, oh my gosh, I thought Mr. Rogers was dead. I've been watching a lot of TV, and it dawned on me watching a James Bond movie that they never let an actor much past 50 play him. Why not? Come on, I'd like to see that. Instead of a massage by a sexy spy, he'll get a prostate exam by his urologist. At an assisted living facility, his nurse says, Mr. Bond, it's time for your Ensure milkshake. Would you like that shaken or stirred? He always says, the name is Bond, James Bond. It wouldn't be all that different if he said, my name is, what's my name again? There's a social pioneer who's not getting credit, Hugh Hefner. He started quarantining in the 60s. He spent like decades in his bathrobe. He's a great example that you're never bored doing what you love most and doing it like 5 or 6 times a day. I valeted at Playboy Mansion, and at the end of the night, we were rewarded with sensuous pleasure, firm and round and sweet. I've never had better snickerdoodle cookies, ever. This is the time of year when my thoughts, and I'm sure this is true for many people, turn to Kourtney Kardashian. I feel sorry for her. She spells Courtney with a K, which is tragic. She must have had a terrible holiday season. She's expected to buy presents for Kim and Kylie who are each worth $1 billion. Kourtney's net worth is $35 million. That's below the Kardashian poverty line. I'm starting a GoFundMe campaign for Kourtney. Be generous and contribute so she can buy Christmas presents for next Christmas with a K. My mom was in a nursing home, and a guy there said, I don't know how to tell you this, Tom, but your mother has been stealing bacon from other residents. I said to the guy, why don't you just give her own plate of bacon? He says to me, we can't. She's got a doctor's order for a pureed diet. So I told the guy, you know, my mom really does love bacon. And he says, yeah, I love bacon too. I'll get an order from the doctor. We really did this. She did die from bacon, not from eating it. She was running to get it. I'm a doctor, and I hope that some of the changes we've made doing virtual meetings will continue. I'll be so much more relaxed when I make my rounds in the ICU with my fuzzy pink bunny slippers. What do you all think? I'm doing Zoom office visits, which are the same as in person, except now instead of you not wearing pants, I'm not. I get so mad when an insurance company denies a drug for a really bad disease. The word insurance is based on the ancient Greek word for no. I've had patients who have called their insurance company to beg for a drug their doctor prescribed. It's like, why is my drug for rheumatoid arthritis being denied? Let me look up your policy, sir. It's a POS policy. Point of service? No, piece of shit. Well, what medication is covered? Vitamin C. Vitamin C, I have terrible pain from rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, Advil. You're killing me. Yes, I am. Slowly and profitably. A famous actor in Los Angeles bled 40 units of blood in a botched surgery. They had to change the name. It was called the Los Angeles Hospital for Uncontrolled Bleeding. Our medical system is so broken, I can tell you, even doctors don't have a clue how to fix it. It would take, like, I don't know, someone like a Walt Disney to imagine something like that. At Disneyland, which is only about an hour from here, in addition to Frontierland and Tomorrowland, there should be Hospital Land. When you get to the front of a very short line in Hospital Land, the cast member asks, "Do you have health insurance?" Well, no. Well then, come right in. And if you go to the hospital, in Hospital Land for something simple like a bunion surgery, afterwards your lovely nurse says, "You know, you look a little bit tired. Why don't you stay for a month or two? And remember, when you need anything, and I mean anything, big guy, you can press Goofy's nose for Disney room service." Okay. Well, if I have pain after I leave the hospital, what should I do? That's not a problem. All you have to do is visit Morphine Land. So I hope you're all feeling pretty good right now, and I'm giving you back to our fabulous host, Michaela.
Thank you, Tom Susko, Dr. Tom. And I have something I need you to take a look at. It's weird. I'll wait till the live stream's over and then I'm going to need a diagnosis. Okay, great. I love it. Your next comic coming to the screen is performing all the way from Kansas City, Kansas. Please give it up for the very funny Trevor Martin.
Thank you, Michaela. One effect of COVID has been that my wife misses going out for dinner. It's been a relief for me, as a few years ago, I was diagnosed with CBS, cheap bastard syndrome, which means my body has an inability to produce feelings of joy when I'm spending $70 for food. We also would get invited out to, dinner to celebrate birthdays with friends and family, which would really cause my CBS to flare up. Because we all know you don't show up to a birthday dinner empty-handed. I'm cheap, but I have dignity. I'm not showing up with just a birthday card. There's nothing sadder than getting a birthday card with just words in it. Most of us can admit we don't like getting older. I'm an older guy who still looks relatively young, so I try to avoid confessing my age. When someone asks me how old I am, I say, I'm at the age where I'm halfway through a movie before I realize I've already seen it. I'm at the age where I talk to an attractive woman in her 20s like I'm her dad. I'm at the age where I don't have to remember 30 different phone numbers anymore, but I can't remember the 2 passwords I use for everything. I still look younger for being older, which builds a great case for denial. It scares me that I can remember things that happened 40 years ago. I thought people who could say that were called grandpa. When people around my age work out, we look good for our age. Any celebrity that looks good and is in shape around my age gets coverage on Apple News. Jennifer Lopez looks amazing, rocking a bikini at 51. I have old man habits that I can't shake. I use my cell phone to call someone's cell phone and still leave my callback number, slowly and clearly, like I'm giving my dinner order to a waiter who won't write things down. I got a comforting note in a fortune cookie that said, "With age comes wisdom." At least that's what I thought it said, because with aging also comes an inability to read small print. I've actually reached the signature age. I'm at the age where my wife tells me that I'm becoming my dad, which is weird because I had just gotten out of the shower when she told me that. I probably sound like my dad when I tell my kids how the world has evolved, told through a bunch of when I was your age stories, because it's true. My kids are always telling me that it's so much tougher now with the pandemic and social unrest and rampant depression. I mean, sure, if you want to track things like that, they may have a point. But when I was growing up, 900 kids were dying a year because 80-pound TVs were falling on them. Death by television doesn't exist anymore. 55-inch TVs weigh 10 pounds today, and we bolt them on the wall. 30 years ago, they were the weight of a sixth grader. And they put them on a wobbly crate and hope for the best. You know what no one had heard of 40 years ago? The internet and driver's side airbags. Back then, half of your ability to acquire and apply knowledge depended on how smart your parents were. If it wasn't in my book at school, I didn't have Google or Wikipedia. I had my dad. I hate to hear that so many people are getting laid off now. It happened to me before, but I didn't get laid off during COVID. No, I got laid off when the economy was at its peak. That's harder to do. It's like the economy is great. We don't think business could get any better with you. Getting let go was different than I would have expected. I thought they took you out to a fancy restaurant and let you go right before you ordered or hid the message in an unexpected farewell card. Not me. I got fired at Chipotle. In line during the lunch rush. I was devastated. Complete strangers were walking up to me. "Excuse me, are you in line?" It was horrible. They lied to me. They said we were meeting for lunch. They already ate. They were literally holding Chipotle cups. When I got home and told my wife what had happened, she told me I took it like a man who isn't afraid to cry or sob. When you go through tough times, you see that empathy isn't something that comes naturally to people. Most people responded by telling me a story about themselves, like, "I thought we were talking about me." I was telling one of my best friends the story about how I got laid off. Barely started the story, and he told me that he just found out that he had stage 4 lung cancer. Can I please finish my I got fired story? Guys, thank you very much.
Yay, Trevor Martin. Your final comedian tonight, your headliner, is performing from Arizona. She is a fabulous comedian. You're going to love her. I'm going to unmute her. And please give it up for the very funny Ina Swinton.
Should I just make it all up, people? Okay. I was born in Russia, moved to America when I was 9. I don't have an accent. Fortunately, New Jersey destroys everything. My family used to go to a dacha. That's a Russian summer house. It's like the Hamptons with radiation. I'm a mom. It's a big job taking care of our 3 kids. I want to spend all my time with them, so I don't cook, clean, or do laundry. I have had nannies over the years, and I've gotten really good at hiring them. There are 3 criteria: shorter, fatter, lesbian. In America, when I came here, my mother decided she loves the British royals. She watched the entire wedding of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry on TV, and she cried. I said, "Mom, why are you crying?" "Because you will never be a duchess. Meghan prepared a dinner of roast chicken for Harry to get him to propose. When was the last time you roasted a chicken?" I wanted to roast a chicken for my husband for our anniversary, but he said, "Honey, I know cooking's not your thing. Why don't you just seduce me?" I wish he just let me roast the chicken. When I was a kid in Russia, I asked my parents where babies came from, and they told me they bought me at a store. I didn't believe them. It was communism. The stores were empty. When I came to America, my friend Vicky told me where babies come from, and she said it took 9 months. Oh, you have to wait 9 months? Maybe they did get me at a Russian store. So during the pandemic, people have been so active. Black Lives Matter, the election. I've accomplished a few things too. Facebook just let me know that I have earned the title of top fan of Murray's Chihuahua world. I know the world's in a crazy place, but that's no reason to forget the Chihuahuas. I mean, Chihuahuas have serious problems. They're very small and they're Mexican. I asked to be a class mom. My son has begged me to do this for years, and I thought finally the time was right. I mean, I'd be a virtual class mom and I wouldn't have to do anything. But they said no. I said, but I wouldn't have to do anything. They said, we know. And no. I don't miss those mean moms at school. I was kicked off the Friday pizza lunch committee because I was late with the pizza twice. I said, my alarm didn't go off. They said it's 2:00 in the afternoon and something about the children going hungry. I said, whatever. What's wrong with them? It is never too early to start intermittent fasting. One good thing about the pandemic is my book club doesn't meet anymore. We didn't read the books anyway. All we ever did was talk about our nannies. The politics were getting too divisive. My friend Olga believes in QAnon. I said, Olga, you've gone too far to the right and you're intolerant of the people to the left. She said, no, I'm not. It doesn't matter to me which way you go, right or left, as long as you go there in a yacht. I'm worried about Olga. She thinks everyone thinks the way she does. She was recently divorced and she posted a picture of herself on JDate holding an AR-15 rifle. I said, Olga, that AR-15 doesn't work. She said, you're right. It's hiding my boobs. I said, Olga, many men don't find guns attractive. She said, those men are not my type. They're Democrats. I want the men powerful enough to stand my ground. I said, the expression is stand your ground, Olga. She said, it doesn't matter to me if it's my ground or your ground, as long as ground is a luxury condo in Palm Beach and we go there in a yacht. My mom still likes Trump. I'm like, Mom, he's so anti-immigrant. You're a refugee from a small village in Latvia. She says, so what? I am here now. Close the gates. I'm worried about my 8-year-old son. He spends too much time in the basement playing video games. I heard him yelling the other day, the purge is next. It's a coup. It's a coup. I was like, Maxime, are you playing 60-Second Apocalypse again? He said, no, I'm watching CNN. He's on this game Sims. It's a life simulation game. You have a character and make choices. You live a life. I said, get off the game. Do your homework. You're not learning anything here. He said, you're right, Mom. I mean, the only thing I just learned is that if I become an oral surgeon instead of a middle school teacher, and I only have one wife and one kid, when I'm 40, I can retire to the Cayman Islands with $10 million. And I'm like, oh, sorry I interrupted you. Go back to the game. My family, we have a lot of therapists. My psychiatrist, our parenting coach, our children's psychologist, my husband's therapist, and a therapist for our Chihuahua, Lola. She keeps biting my father. Lola has issues. One of our therapists said, listen, you have too many therapists. It would be better if you really focused and just worked with one. I said, oh, that's a good idea. Which one are you? I know which therapist I'd get rid of. The one who spent a year in a silent retreat in Nepal and she won't shut up about it. I told my husband, I told my therapist I needed a break. That I said to her, I love you, but I can't afford you. And my husband said, wow, I feel the same way about you. What a kidder. I told him, I'm very less expensive now with this pandemic. I'm doing the laundry. He said, you are? I said, well, I haven't started yet, but I Googled it and the video was exhausting. My girlfriend told me that all husbands secretly want a threesome. Well, I wanted to ask my husband. I wanted to just be open with him. I said, honey, do you want a threesome? He said, no, but I want you to do the laundry and maybe roast that chicken. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Ina Swinton. Good job, Ina, doing your laundry. So proud of you. So proud. Thank you all
Thank
so
you.
much for watching our show. Thank you so much. If you have ever dreamed of doing stand-up comedy, join our next workshop. It's starting February 9th, and right now our workshops are totally online. So no matter where you live, you can work with us. You can be part of the American Comedy Institute and do stand-up comedy. Please stay safe, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you all soon.